Good morning, kids! Are you ready to learn new things today? Great! Let's make today's lesson interesting and fun. Before we begin, let's quickly review what we discussed in our last lesson. Who can remind us what we talked about regarding environmental issues in our community? That's right! We learned about various problems like pollution and waste management. Today, we're going to learn how we can use science to help solve these kinds of problems. I have a question for you. Have you ever noticed a problem in our community and wondered how we could fix it? Maybe something like a dirty river, too much trash, or even a health issue? Now, try to figure out this. What can you see in this picture? What problems arise from this situation? Great observation! Now, let's see how we can use science to address these kinds of problems. Today, we're going to explore the skills that scientists use to solve problems. These skills are called science process skills. Scientists use these skills to understand the world and come up with solutions to problems. The first skill is observing. Observing means using your senses to gather information. For example, if you notice that the river near your house is dirty and has a bad smell, you are using your sense of sight and smell to observe. Why is observing important? Correct! Observing helps us gather the facts we need to understand the situations. Next is classifying. Classifying is grouping things based on their similarities. For instance, you might classify trash into biodegradable and non-biodegradable. How can classifying help us solve problems? Exactly. It helps us organize information and see patterns that can lead to solutions. Inferring. It means making an educated guess based on your observations. For example, if you see a lot of mosquitoes around, you might infer that there's standing water nearby where they are breathing. Why do you think making inferences is important? Yes, it allows us to draw conclusions even when we don't have all the information. Predicting is when you make a statement about what you think will happen in the future based on evidence. For example, if we continue to throw trash into the river, we can predict that water will become even more polluted. How can predictions help us? Great! Predictions help us prepare for what might happen and find ways to prevent problems. Finally, experimenting is when you test an idea to see if it works. For instance, if you think that planting more trees will reduce air pollution, you would experiment by planting trees and observing the results. Why do you think experimenting is important? That's right. Experimenting allows us to test our ideas and see if they really work. Now that we've learned about science process skills, let's talk about the attitudes that scientists need. These attitudes help them think clearly and find creative solutions. Let's discuss some important scientific attitudes. Curiosity. It is the desire to learn more and ask questions. For example, if you're curious about why the river is dirty, you might investigate what's causing the pollution. Why is curiosity important for solving problems? Correct! Curiosity drives us to explore and discover new information. Next is skepticism. Skepticism means not accepting something as true without evidence. For example, if someone claims that a new product can clean the river, you would ask for proof before believing it, right? Why do you think skepticism is important? Exactly. Skepticism helps us avoid being misled by false claims. Open-mindedness. It is being willing to consider different ideas and opinions. For example, you might listen to different suggestions on how to clean up the river. Why is it important to be open-minded? Yes, it allows us to learn from others and find the best solutions. Creativity. Creativity is thinking of new and original ways to solve problems. For example, designing a new trash bin that encourages people to recycle. How can creativity help us in solving problems? Great! Creativity helps us come up with unique solutions that others might not think of. Now that we've learned about science process skills and scientific attitudes, let's apply what we've learned to a real life problem. Let's say our community is facing a problem with too much trash in the streets. People are throwing garbage everywhere and it's making the area dirty and smelly. First, what observation can we make about this problem? Yes, we can see that there's a lot of trash and it's causing a bad smell. What about classifying? How could we classify the trash? Good. We can classify it into biodegradable and non-biodegradable. What inference can we make about why there's so much trash? Great. We might infer that people don't have enough trash bins or they don't know where to throw their garbage. What could we predict will happen if the trash problem isn't solved? Exactly. The area could become even dirtier and it might attract pests. Finally, what experiment could we do to see if our solution works? That's a good idea. We could place more trash bins around the area and see if people start using them more. Now, which scientific attitudes could help us solve this problem? For example, how could curiosity help? Right, we could ask questions about why people aren't using the trash bins. What about skepticism? Exactly. We shouldn't just believe that placing bins will solve the problem. We need to check if it actually works. How could open-mindedness and creativity help? Great answers. Being open-minded means we would listen to different ideas. To sum up the lesson, we've learned about that science process skills and scientific attitudes can help us solve problems in our community. Remember, these skills aren't just for scientists. Anyone can use them to make a difference, whether it's observing, classifying, inferring, or experimenting, or being curious, skeptical, open-minded, and creative. These tools will help you think critically and come up with solutions. Let's always try to use these skills and attitudes, especially when we see problems around us. Congratulations! You all did a great job! Have a great day, kids! See you in our next class! God bless you!